Life is full of surprises, and sometimes those surprises come wrapped as problems. Everyone, no matter who they are or where they come from, faces difficulties at some point. It might be something small, like missing your bus in the morning or spilling coffee on your shirt, or it might be something serious, like losing your job, breaking up with someone you love, or feeling lost and unsure about your future. No one in the world can escape problems. They are a natural part of life, just like the rain and the sunshine. But here's a secret that most people forget: every problem has a solution, and sometimes the solution begins not with changing the situation, but with changing the way you think about it. When a problem first appears, it often feels bigger than it really is. You feel pressure in your chest, your heart beats faster, and your thoughts start to race. You might begin to imagine all the bad things that could happen, even things that aren't real yet. It's like standing in front of a mirror in the dark. Everything looks scarier than it really is. But if you switch on a light, you realize it's not so bad after all. The same thing happens with problems. When you calm down and look carefully, most of them are not impossible, they just need time, patience, and a clear mind. The first thing to remember when you face a problem is to stay calm. It sounds simple, but it's the hardest thing to do. Most people panic, get angry, or blame others. But none of that helps. Think of your mind as water in a glass. When the water is still, you can see through it clearly. But when it's shaking, everything becomes blurry. If you want to see the solution, you must first stop shaking the glass. In life, calmness is your greatest strength. It helps you think, it helps you speak wisely, and it helps you take the right action instead of reacting blindly. So when something goes wrong, don't rush. Don't let your emotions take control. Pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Tell yourself, it's okay, I can handle this. Even if you don't know the answer right now, trust that you will find it. Problems are not permanent. They come and go, but the calmness you build will stay with you forever. Now, think about the last time you faced a problem that made you feel helpless. Maybe you failed a test, maybe you argued with someone you care about, or maybe you just woke up feeling stuck. In that moment, you probably felt that everything was falling apart. But if you look back now, you'll see that you survived it. Somehow, you made it through. That's proof that you're stronger than you think. Every time you solve a problem, even a small one, you grow a little wiser and a little braver. Life is not about avoiding problems, it's about learning how to face them with peace and strength. Understanding your problem is the next important step. You cannot solve something you don't truly understand. Many people make the mistake of reacting too fast. They try to fix things without taking time to see what's really wrong. It's like a doctor giving medicine without knowing the disease. Sometimes the problem you see is just the surface, the real issue lies underneath. For example, if you always feel stressed about your work, maybe the real problem isn't the work itself but how you manage your time, or maybe it's your fear of failure. If you argue often with someone, maybe the issue isn't what you're arguing about, but the way you communicate. To understand your problem, start by asking yourself simple but honest questions. What exactly is happening? Why is it happening? What is under my control, and what isn't? These questions are powerful because they bring clarity. You stop focusing on panic and start focusing on logic. Sometimes, when you write your thoughts down, you can see the problem from a new angle. You might realize that it's not as big as it seemed. There's a story about a man who carried a heavy bag everywhere he went. He complained all the time about how tired he was, how unfair life was, and how hard it was to walk. One day, someone asked him what was inside the bag. The man opened it and was shocked to find that half of the bag was filled with stones he had put there himself long ago. He had forgotten about them. The moral of the story is simple: sometimes our problems feel heavy not because of what's happening around us, but because of the extra weight we carry in our mind, old worries, past mistakes, fear, or guilt. When you let go of those mental stones, life feels lighter instantly. When you look at problems this way, they stop feeling like enemies. Instead, they become teachers. Every problem teaches you something about yourself, about others, or about life. If you fail, it teaches you what doesn't work. If someone hurts you, it teaches you the value of kindness. If you lose something, it teaches you gratitude. You may not like the lesson, but you will always grow from it. The people who become strong and wise are not the ones who had an easy life, but the ones who faced many challenges and learned from them. Sometimes, a problem doesn't need a solution right away. Sometimes, it just needs patience. Life has its own timing. There are moments when you can't do much except wait, breathe, and keep doing your best. For example, if you're waiting for a job opportunity, you can't control when it will come, but you can prepare yourself, improve your skills, and stay positive. Waiting doesn't mean doing nothing, it means trusting that your effort will pay off when the time is right. It's also important to remember that problems are different for everyone. What feels like a big problem for one person might seem small to someone else. But that doesn't mean your problem isn't important. Don't compare your struggles with others. You don't know their full story, and they don't know yours. What matters is how you deal with what you have. If you keep comparing, you'll only make yourself unhappy. Focus on your own path, your own growth, and your own progress. When we face problems, it's natural to look for someone to blame. Maybe we blame other people, or maybe we blame ourselves. But blame doesn't change anything, it only keeps you stuck. Instead of asking, "Whose fault is this?" ask, "What can I do now?" Taking responsibility for your actions doesn't mean blaming yourself, it means accepting that you have the power to improve things. Even if the problem wasn't your fault, you can still choose how to respond to it. That's where your true power lies, not in control over everything, but in control over yourself. Think about this: when you drive a car and someone cuts in front of you, you can either get angry and shout, or you can slow down and move on safely. The situation is the same, but your reaction makes all the difference. Anger burns energy, but calmness saves it. So whenever something unexpected happens, ask yourself, do I want to make this worse or make it better? Your thoughts create your reality. If you believe every problem is the end of the world, it will feel like it. But if you believe every problem is a lesson, it becomes a step forward. That's why it's important to speak kindly to yourself, especially when things go wrong. Many people are kind to others but cruel to themselves. They say, "I'm stupid," or "I can't do this." But those words are like poison to the mind. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to a friend, with understanding, patience, and encouragement. When you change your inner voice, your outer world begins to change too. Confidence doesn't mean you never fail, it means you don't let failure stop you. It means you trust that you can stand up again. You start to see problems not as walls blocking your way, but as doors you can open with the right key. Sometimes the key is effort, sometimes it's patience, and sometimes it's asking for help. Asking for help is not weakness. In fact, it's a sign of strength. Some problems are too heavy to carry alone, and there's no shame in seeking advice, comfort, or support. Talking to someone who understands can give you a new point of view. Sometimes, just speaking your thoughts out loud helps you see the solution more clearly. The people around you, family, friends, teachers, they might not solve your problem for you, but they can remind you that you're not alone. And remember this, life will never be completely free of problems. If you dream of a life without problems, you're dreaming of something that doesn't exist. Problems are signs of life, signs that you are moving, growing, and learning. If you had no problems at all, you would never develop strength or wisdom. Just like muscles grow stronger when you exercise them, your mind and spirit grow stronger when you face challenges. So the next time a problem appears, try to look at it differently. Instead of thinking, why me, think, okay, what is life trying to teach me here? Maybe it's teaching you patience, or courage, or discipline. Every problem has a message hidden inside it, and once you learn that lesson, the problem starts to fade away. You can't stop the waves of life, but you can learn how to surf. That's what problem solving is really about, not avoiding the waves, but learning how to ride them with balance and confidence. When you finally understand what is really going on, the next thing you must do is to move. A problem begins to change the moment you begin to act on it. Many people wait for the perfect time, but the perfect time never comes. They keep thinking, planning, and worrying until the energy inside them turns into fear. The truth is, no one ever feels completely ready. You start before you feel ready, and readiness grows while you move. Every solution starts with a small step. If you want to change your life, you begin with one action that you can do today, not someday. Maybe you decide to send that email, make that phone call, open that book, or simply get out of bed with a little more hope. Action creates movement, and movement creates clarity. When you move, you start to see the path. When you stand still, the fog in your mind gets thicker. You don't need to know every detail of the road ahead. Think about walking at night with a flashlight. The light only shows you a few steps ahead, but as you keep walking, new ground appears. That is how life works. You don't have to see the whole journey. You only need to take the next step with courage and trust that the rest will appear. Of course, not every step will bring success. Sometimes you will fall or fail. Sometimes you will do everything right and still face disappointment. That's part of the game. Failure is not a stop sign, it's a guide. It tells you, not this way. Try another. When you fail, don't waste time blaming yourself or others. Instead, ask, what can I learn from this? Every mistake holds a small gift, a piece of information that helps you improve. Many people give up because they expect progress to be fast. They want to see results immediately. But real change takes time. Imagine planting a seed. You water it, care for it, and wait. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust the process. Life is the same. Sometimes nothing seems to be happening on the surface, but deep inside, things are growing. Patience is part of solving problems. If you lose patience, you lose the reward that was coming your way. There will also be days when you feel tired and want to quit. On those days, remind yourself of your reason. Why did you start? What are you working for? Your reason is your inner fire. When motivation fades, your reason keeps you moving. Say to yourself, I will not stop now. I've come too far to turn back. Speak kindly to yourself. Encourage yourself the way a coach encourages a player. Sometimes you will need to change your plan. Flexibility is not weakness, it's wisdom. Think of a river. It doesn't flow in a straight line, it curves, it bends, but it always finds its way to the sea. If one path is blocked, it creates another. Be like water. When something doesn't work, don't fight reality. Adjust, try a new approach, and keep moving. The people who succeed are not always the smartest, but they are the ones who don't stop adapting. Another thing that helps in solving problems is learning to ask for help. We often believe we must do everything alone, but that's not true. Humans are made for connection. Talking to someone you trust can bring new light to a dark situation. Sometimes, while explaining your problem to another person, you suddenly see the answer yourself. Other times, their experience gives you an idea you never thought of. There's no shame in needing support. Even strong trees need the wind to grow deeper roots. While you work through your problems, try to take care of your body and mind. Eat well, sleep well, go for walks, and spend a few minutes each day in silence. Problems feel heavier when you're tired or unhealthy. A calm body helps create a calm mind. You cannot think clearly when you're exhausted. Rest is part of the work. It also helps to practice gratitude. It may sound strange to talk about gratitude when you're facing trouble, but it works. When you start noticing what's still good in your life, the problem loses some of its power. Gratitude doesn't erase pain, but it gives you balance. You start to see that life is not only bad or only good, it's both. Even in hard times, there are small things that make life beautiful: a friend's smile, a warm meal, the sound of rain. When you focus on these small lights, the darkness doesn't feel so strong. Another thing you'll discover as you keep solving problems is that the same pattern appears again and again. Maybe you keep meeting the same kind of difficulty in different forms. That's not bad, it means life is trying to teach you something deeper. Each time you face the pattern, you understand it better. It's like climbing a spiral staircase: you pass the same direction, but each time, you're higher than before. And when you finally solve something that once felt impossible, you'll realize how much you've changed. The problem that once scared you will look small. You'll think, why did I worry so much? That moment brings quiet confidence. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to believe that you can handle whatever comes next. That belief is more valuable than any solution. With time, you'll notice that the goal is not to have a life without problems, but to have the strength and skill to face them calmly. Every challenge builds that skill. When a new problem comes, you no longer panic. You say, okay, I've been here before. I know how to breathe, think, and move. You begin to live with steadiness. It also helps to remember that not every problem must be solved completely. Some situations can't be fixed right away, and some may never change. In those cases, your task is to find peace within them. Acceptance is a kind of solution too. It doesn't mean you like the problem, it means you stop fighting what you can't control. That saves your energy for things you can change. The more you practice this way of living, the more natural it becomes. You stop wasting time wishing for easier days and start focusing on becoming stronger for whatever days come. That mindset changes everything. It gives you quiet power. People around you will notice it, they will see that you don't get lost in panic anymore. You handle life with calm confidence, and that inspires others too. Soon, solving problems becomes less about fixing and more about creating. You start using your energy not just to survive, but to build. The same skills that help you solve problems, calm thinking, patience, creativity, and courage, are the same skills that help you reach your dreams. One day you'll look back and realize that the person who once feared problems has become someone who welcomes challenges as opportunities. That is growth. And perhaps the most important lesson of all is this: every time you overcome a problem, you don't just change the situation, you change yourself. You become wiser, kinder, more patient, and more confident. Those qualities stay with you long after the problem is gone. They are the real reward. So keep moving, keep thinking, keep learning. Don't be afraid to fail, don't be afraid to start again, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Each problem you face is shaping you into someone stronger than before. Life is not testing you to destroy you, it's preparing you to become who you are meant to be. And one day, when someone else feels lost and tells you, "I have too many problems," you will smile and say, "I understand. I used to feel the same, but I learned something." Every problem hides a lesson, and when you face it with courage, you will find your way. You'll speak those words with calmness because they will come from experience, not theory. You'll know deep inside that no matter what happens, you can handle it. Because you've done it before, and you'll do it again. As time passes, you begin to see life from a higher place. Problems that once felt like mountains now look like small hills in the distance. You realize that every problem you faced had a purpose. Each one trained your heart and your mind in ways that no book or teacher could. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That small change in question changes everything. It turns pain into wisdom and confusion into clarity. There will still be challenges. Life never stops testing you, but your relationship with difficulty will not be the same. You will not run away from hard times anymore. You'll face them with quiet confidence, knowing that even if you don't have all the answers, you have the strength to figure things out. That trust in yourself is freedom. When you stop fearing problems, you stop fearing life itself. One of the most beautiful things you'll learn is that your growth can help others grow too. When you share your story, when you speak honestly about what you went through and how you overcame it, you give hope to someone else who is still in the dark. Sometimes your words will be the light that someone else needs. You might not even realize it, but a kind word, a simple smile, or a small act of understanding can change another person's day completely. That's the hidden gift of solving problems, empathy. You start to see that everyone is carrying something. The angry person, the quiet person, the person who seems strong, all of them are fighting their own battles. When you understand this, you become gentler. You stop judging quickly. You start to listen more, help more, love more. You realize that the strength you built is not only for you, but for others too. Sometimes helping others becomes your new way of solving life's problems. You notice that when you give kindness, your own heart heals faster. When you teach what you've learned, your wisdom deepens. When you encourage someone else, you also remind yourself of how far you've come. Life becomes more beautiful when you use your experience to lift others. As you continue, you'll find that peace does not mean a life without noise, but a calm heart in the middle of the noise. It's not about controlling every situation, it's about trusting that you can stay centered even when things go wrong. The world outside can be messy, but your inner world can stay calm. That's real strength, to remain gentle in a world that sometimes feels harsh. You'll also start to appreciate silence. In silence, you meet yourself again. You hear your real thoughts without the voices of others. You realize that most answers are already inside you, you just need quiet to hear them. Modern life moves fast, but wisdom moves slowly. Take time to be alone, to think, to breathe. When you connect with that quiet place inside you, life stops feeling like a storm and starts feeling like a song that you can dance to, even in the rain. Another thing you'll learn is that not every problem is meant to be understood immediately. Some lessons take years to reveal their meaning. You might go through something painful and only much later see how it changed your path for the better. Trust that time has its own wisdom. Even if you don't see the reason now, you will one day. Life has a way of connecting all the dots when you least expect it. You'll also learn to forgive others and yourself. Holding on to anger or guilt is like carrying heavy stones in your heart. You think it protects you, but it only exhausts you. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, it means freeing yourself from pain that no longer serves you. When you let go, you make space for peace to enter. That peace is part of every solution. As your understanding grows, your definition of success changes too. You stop chasing only achievements, money, or fame. You start valuing simple things, waking up healthy, spending time with loved ones, having peace of mind, being able to sleep with a calm heart. You realize that real success is not how much you have, but how deeply you live, how kindly you treat others, and how calmly you handle challenges. There will come a moment when you look back and smile at your past self, the one who used to panic, worry, or feel lost. You'll feel compassion for that person because they were doing their best with what they knew. You'll whisper, "Thank you for not giving up." Because if you had, you wouldn't be where you are now. You'll see that every fear you faced made you stronger, every tear you cried cleaned your vision, every problem you solved shaped you into the person you've become. And now, when new problems appear, you'll meet them like old friends. You'll say, "Ah, another lesson." You'll still feel pain sometimes, but pain will no longer control you. You'll breathe through it, think clearly, and act wisely. You'll know that storms always end, that after every night comes morning, and after every fall comes rising. Eventually, you'll notice something extraordinary: your whole way of living has changed. You no longer wait for life to be perfect. You live fully even when things are uncertain. You laugh more easily, love more deeply, and worry less about the future. You've learned that peace is not found by controlling life, but by cooperating with it. You've learned that happiness is not somewhere else, it's built moment by moment, through presence and gratitude. And when you look at others struggling, you will not rush to fix them, because you'll know that everyone learns in their own time. Instead, you'll offer understanding, support, and kindness. You'll trust that just as you found your way, they will too. That is how wisdom feels: calm, patient, and full of quiet faith in life. As you keep walking through this journey, you'll realize that there is no final destination where problems stop forever. Life keeps changing, and so do you. But you'll also see that this is not something to fear. It's what keeps life interesting. The goal is not to control every wave, but to learn how to surf. When you learn that, you can live with freedom, no matter what comes. One day, perhaps years from now, you will sit quietly somewhere, maybe with a cup of tea, maybe under a tree, maybe watching the sunset, and you'll feel a gentle peace in your heart. You'll think about all the problems that once made you cry or lose sleep, and you'll realize that each of them guided you here. You'll smile, not because life is perfect, but because you finally understand that it never had to be. It only needed you to grow, to learn, and to love. And in that moment, you'll know the secret that every wise person eventually discovers: the way to solve any problem in life is not to run from it, not to fight it blindly, but to meet it with calm eyes, an open heart, and a steady mind. Because when you do that, every problem becomes your teacher, every challenge becomes your guide, and every experience becomes part of your growth. That's how you solve any problem in life: not once, not for good, but again and again, with patience, courage, and love.